Questions to ask the travel insurance company. Here are some questions to ask a travel insurance company about medical emergencies or natural disasters. What is the coverage for medical emergencies? Does it cover cancel for any reason coverage? Does the policy include emergency medical evacuation and repatriation? What is the process for making a claim for medical expenses? Is there a 24-hour emergency assistance hotline for medical emergencies? Are pre-existing medical conditions covered by the policy? What is the coverage for natural disasters, such as hurricanes or earthquakes? Does the policy provide for trip cancellation or interruption due to a natural disaster? Are there any exclusions or limitations on coverage for medical emergencies or natural disasters? Are there any additional options for coverage in high-risk areas? Is the policy valid in all countries, or are there any restrictions on coverage in certain regions? It's important to read the policy carefully and understand the terms and conditions before purchasing travel insurance. Don't hesitate to ask any questions you have to ensure you have the coverage you need in case of an emergency. Here are some general answers, but you should really call, text, or chat email a specialist on travel insurance coverages. What is travel insurance and what it covers? Travel insurance is a type of insurance policy that provides coverage for medical expenses, trip cancellation, lost luggage, flight accident, and other losses incurred during travel. It can protect you from unexpected costs and provide peace of mind in case of any untoward incidents that may occur while traveling. When looking into travel insurance, it is essential to consider the various coverage options and to choose a plan that best fits your requirements as well as any hazards associated with traveling in certain countries. How to choose the right travel insurance plan for your trip. The importance of having the right travel insurance plan for your trip cannot be overstated. It is essential to ensure that you have proper coverage in case of any unexpected events, such as medical emergencies or natural disasters, terrorism attacks, pandemics, and epidemics that may occur during your journey. To choose the right plan for your trip, you should carefully consider your destinations, how long you will be away, and what activities are included in the itinerary. Additionally, it is important to determine what type of coverage is offered by each policy, such as medical expenses and evacuation, repatriation services. With careful planning and research into the various plans available, you can find the perfect travel insurance plan. How travel insurance protects you during Middle Eastern travels. The Middle East is sometimes considered a high-risk region for terrorism, so check that your policy covers acts of terrorism. Travel insurance is a type of insurance policy that provides coverage for medical expenses, trip cancellation, lost luggage, flight accident, and other losses incurred during travel in the Middle East while traveling in this region. Choosing the best travel insurance for travel to Middle Eastern countries depends on your specific travel needs, such as the length of your trip, the activities you plan to do, and your budget. Here are some factors to consider when selecting travel insurance for your trip to the Middle East. Medical coverage. Ensure that your travel insurance policy includes comprehensive medical coverage. In case of an emergency, you want to be confident that you'll be covered for medical expenses, including hospitalization, emergency evacuation, and repatriation. Trip cancellation coverage. Look for a policy that includes trip cancellation coverage to protect you financially in case your trip gets canceled or cut short due to unforeseen circumstances. Personal liability coverage. It is recommended to choose a policy that offers personal liability coverage in case you cause damage to others or their property while traveling. Terrorism coverage. The Middle East is sometimes considered a high-risk region for terrorism, so check that your policy covers acts of terrorism. Adventure activities coverage. If you plan to engage in adventure activities like rock climbing, bungee jumping, or skydiving, make sure that your policy covers these activities. Be sure to read the policy's terms and conditions carefully before purchasing, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact the insurance provider directly. When buying travel insurance for travels in Europe? When it comes to selecting the best travel insurance to buy for your trip to Europe, it is important to consider factors like the length of stay, potential risks, and coverage for any pre-existing medical conditions. You should also carefully read the policy in order to be aware of any exclusions or limitations that might apply. Researching different policies ahead of time can help you make an informed decision when you need travel insurance for your trip to Europe. Choosing the best travel insurance for travel to Europe depends on several factors such as the length of your trip, the activities you plan to do, and your budget. Here are some factors to consider when selecting travel insurance for your trip to Europe. Medical coverage. Ensure that your travel insurance policy includes comprehensive medical coverage. In case of an emergency, You want to be confident that you'll be covered for medical expenses, including hospitalization, emergency evacuation, and repatriation. Trip cancellation coverage. Look for a policy that includes trip cancellation coverage to protect you financially in case your trip gets canceled or cut short due to unforeseen circumstances. Personal liability coverage. It is recommended to choose a policy that offers personal liability coverage in case you cause damage to others or their property while traveling. Emergency assistance. Make sure that the policy includes 24/7 emergency assistance, including emergency medical evacuation and repatriation services. Schengen visa compliance. If you are traveling to Europe and require a Schengen visa, make sure that your travel insurance policy meets the Schengen visa requirements. Be sure to read the policy's terms and conditions carefully before purchasing, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact the insurance provider directly. Do travel insurance companies cover pandemics or epidemics? Most travel insurance policies do not cover pandemics or epidemics as they are considered a foreseeable event. However, due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, some travel insurance providers have begun offering coverage for COVID-19 related medical expenses, trip cancellations, and trip interruptions. It's important to note that coverage for COVID-19 related expenses and disruptions may vary between travel insurance providers, and it's essential to read the policy's terms and conditions carefully to understand what is and isn't covered. For example, some policies may cover COVID-19 related medical expenses, but not trip cancellations or interruptions caused by COVID-19. Some policies may only cover COVID-19 related expenses if you contract the virus while traveling and not if you were already infected before departure. If you're planning to travel during the COVID-19 pandemic, it's essential to choose a travel insurance policy that includes coverage for COVID-19 related expenses and disruptions. It's also important to stay up to date on the latest travel advisories and restrictions from the destination countries and airlines to minimize the risk of trip cancellations and interruptions. Do travel insurance companies cover extended stays? Yes. If you are considering taking an extended stay during your travels, it is important to make sure you understand if your travel insurance coverage will extend to cover your additional days away from home. Many travel insurance companies do offer some form of protection for travelers who plan on staying longer than the typical trip. However, it is important to review the details of each policy carefully and understand the limits that may be placed on coverage for an extended stay, as well as any additional fees and costs associated with extending a policy beyond its original term. If you're planning to stay in a foreign country for an extended period, it's important to choose a policy that covers the entire duration of your trip. Some policies have a maximum trip length, so it's crucial to confirm that the policy covers the duration of your stay. It's also essential to check that the policy covers all the activities you plan to do during your extended stay. For example, if you're planning to engage in adventure activities like rock climbing, bungee jumping, or scuba diving, make sure that your policy covers these activities. It's also essential to check if your travel insurance policy includes medical coverage for pre-existing conditions if you have any. Some policies may offer coverage for pre-existing conditions if you meet certain criteria, such as purchasing the policy within a specific time frame after booking your trip. It's essential to read the policy's terms and conditions carefully and understand what is and isn't covered before purchasing travel insurance for an extended stay. Disclaimer: I'm not an insurance agent by profession. However, in my travels I have conducted extensive research and decided to share what I've learned while doing so. When it comes to buying travel insurance, everyone's requirements are unique and you should take the time to research and select the plan that is best for you. I strongly believe that investing in a good travel insurance policy provides you with the security and peace of mind you need. It's an important part of life, like anything else, so it's worth taking the time to get the right coverage for your trip. Do your due diligence. Subscribe and comment if you want to receive my future video. Click on either to see more of my videos.